Hey, what's up, y'all? Bill Brown here. It's been a minute since I posted one of these. Good Friday came around and my pastor asked me to speak, so I had to prepare for that. The topic was forgiveness is a key that opens doors. I might talk about that today. As a matter of fact, I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. But since then, I went home to go visit my family in Connecticut. That was nice. I needed to do that. Had a lot of jobs, got busy. That's what happens. I like that though. And then my car broke down too, again. And the Lord blessed. And I thank God for that. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about something that actually happened just last night. It's been happening over the course of about 2 years or so, but God brought something to my attention last night, and it's funny. So check this out. Where I live at, my living dynamic, I'm living up on Dictionary Hill, and I'm up against the hill, and I have a neighbor that lives in front of me, and we share the same stairway to get into our place. And so, he noticed when he first moved in that I have security cameras where I'm at. And for whatever reason, he's kind of obsessed with my camera. And I'm not here to dog my neighbor out. I'm here. This is something about loving your neighbors, because that's what Jesus taught. But he always asks me about my cameras. Hey, can you keep an eye out for blah, blah, blah? And I'll be like, bruh, your business is your business, and these cameras here are for my business, And so he said, okay, all right, I get it. And then he would ask me again, and we'd have the same conversation. And so while I'm going back to Connecticut, and I told him, I said, hey man, I'm gonna go visit my family for a while, I won't be around. While I'm going back to Connecticut, I noticed on my security camera, all of a sudden he's in my area. He's coming through the gate and going back and forth. And I'm like, I caught him doing this, and I yelled at him through the camera. I said, bro, what you doing? And so he gives me his reasoning for doing so. And I'm like, okay. So when I get back, we have a conversation. And he totally understood. I said, hey, bro, this is my little happy place. This is my peaceful area. I enjoy my privacy. And he's like, okay, man, I get it. Okay. And so last couple of weeks, maybe a month or so, probably the last couple of weeks, I noticed, he's not around, and it's peaceful. It's funny because it's peaceful. But he's back. And so last night I'm recording an episode of Spiritually Speaking. This one, the one I was recording, was on Levels. I'm going to post that at some point. Was on Levels. So I'm recording in my room / studio, and my dog starts barking, and all I hear is, sorry, Bill. Sorry, Bill. And so I get myself together. I go outside, and he says, hey, man, there's coyotes chasing my cats, and I had to go up there, and I had to cut through your area to make sure my cats were safe. And I'm like, well, okay. I didn't say anything to him. I just kind of kept it to myself and kept quiet and went back in the house. But I noticed for the next couple of hours, I was kind of tripping, man. I'm like, dude, man, did I tell him don't come up here? I thought we had an understanding that I enjoy my privacy. And, here he is, just coming, busting through the gate, going through the back, coming through the gate, apologizing while he's doing it. And so I'm like, it kind of bothered me for a minute, So fast forward for, a couple hours after that, I go to sleep. I usually pray before I go to sleep, y'all. I go to sleep, and probably about 45 minutes into it, the Lord wakes me up. Get up. I'm like, man, okay, wow, what's up? And Ralph has to go outside. Ralph's my dog. He has to go outside. So take him outside, sit out there. It's like, okay, I'm up. I might as well go on and pray. So I get to praying, and part of my prayer is I recite the Lord's Prayer, or, his model of praying. And I get to the part, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive them that trespass against us. And it started echoing like in my spirit. Okay, it'll stop right there. And it's like, hey, wait a minute. You know what? I actually went to bed and I was mad with my neighbor because he was trespassing in my little happy place and in my area. And I'm like, he's a habitual trespasser. That's what he is. And that's who he is. But I brought him before the Lord and I forgave him. Now, I didn't say anything to him when he did all this stuff. I'm just sitting there, I'm just mad. I just held it in. But I brought him before the Lord and I said, Lord, please, you know what? In my spirit, let me forgive this guy because this is who he is and this is what he does at this point in his life. Now, this is important. I'm just throwing this out there. I said, at this point in his life, I never reserve somebody to a certain action or how they are, because I know God gives us space to repent and God gives us time to overcome and to become more like him. And, so, it's, and that's where people call us, say we're judging and stuff like that. I don't judge, God judges. But what I do is I kind of discern where somebody's at and I pray about it. So anyway, so I pray, I forgive him, I let him go, I release him, I let him go. I understand this is who he is. And I accept it because I can't change him right now, only just between him and God. So I go back to sleep and I wake up today and I'm in a whole different place. And it's like, I gotta post about this because this is a kingdom principle that Jesus taught. And it's the way I live, it's the way I live my life. And I practice it all the time. And it's funny because when I didn't practice it last night, it's like the Lord said, hey, bro, get up. I was like, hey, bro, get up and forgive this guy. And so I did.